Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So, welcome to a new week. Welcome to a market open stream. And welcome to a new start. Bitcoin skyrocketed 2,700% the last time this signal flashed. And are we going to make a new high this week? Well, right now, it doesn't look like it because Bitcoin came down a little bit. But let me show you a thing or two that will possibly change your mind. All right, let's do it. Welcome, 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 guys. Hey, let me move this up so you guys can see the price there. All right. So yesterday, we had an exciting day. Yesterday, we went up as high as 69.5, right? During my Sunday walk, I told you guys I was looking at things. It was like 69.2 when I was doing it. And I said, I think we're going to hit 69.5. And that's what we hit. But we came down today. We're at 67.8, right? We retraced a little bit. But the pump is not over. This rally's not over. The bull run is still intact. And let me show you why. There are still so many great things happening. This is just another little shakeout, little distraction to try to buzz you off before we make a new high and before we go 6 digits, right? Because when you zoom in like this, yeah, it looks bad. But when you zoom out, you realize, yes, we are definitely going higher and making new highs. All right, so let's get going. And by the way, I did not mention yesterday, I didn't even see during my Sunday walk, Solana and Jupiter jumped up tremendously yesterday. Tremendously, just out of nowhere. Both of them shot up quite good. So that's also very positive indeed. All right, so today, the market is mixed, although I have a feeling we will be turning green because there's really no reason why we are mixed right now. Dow just turned green slightly, S&P and NASDAQ in the red, but again, there's no real reason why we should be going into the red. Maybe I missed something, but let's see. Nvidia's in the green. Apple slightly in the red. MicroStrategy and Coinbase a little bit in the red. But what is there to look forward to this week? There are a lot of earnings, a ton of earnings this week from Wall Street. A lot of major companies. I guess they will be giving their forecasts, right? And that's always important. And there's one particular company that I've been talking a lot about with my cruise and my walk video, and that is Tesla. And they're reporting on Wednesday. And why they're important is, obviously, Tesla did something amazing last week. And I'm still like buzzing over it. I still watch replays of it. To catch a rocket that's 20 stories high. Like when you look at a video, you just see this little rocket and you don't think it's amazing. But like when you actually like take a look at how big that rocket is, it's a 20-story rocket you're catching out of air that's dropping at the speed of sound. I don't think people realize how crazy and monumental that event was. And on the first try. Anyways, how that relates is because Tesla moved $750 million worth of Bitcoin last week, right? What is Elon going to do? I really hope he shocks the industry by saying something like, you know what? We are going to fully embrace Bitcoin, right? We moved those, what we had because of some accounting thing, but now we will be putting all of our money into Bitcoin. Like, I really wish he would say something like that in his call. Maybe he does, right? That's the best outcome. Maybe another outcome is he just says he moved in. That's it. Nothing else happens. The worst case outcome is, of course, he announces that they are selling it all or they sold it all. Well, if they did sell it off, we would see it because it's all on the blockchain. But hopefully that's not the case, right? If Tesla implements a Bitcoin strategy, like a MicroStrategy, like anyone else that have, I think they'll go benefit. If Elon is just using Tesla as a cash cow, that's what he should do, right? He'll benefit from the gains that he'll receive from Bitcoin, from holding Bitcoin, and his stock will skyrocket. So why not do it? Just buy, just keep on buying Bitcoin, Elon. That's all he needs to do. That's all he needs to do. All right, outside of a lot of earnings, we have, of course, economic data, existing home sales, jobless claims, manufacturing, durable goods, consumer sentiment. I'm pretty sure all of those are going to come in a little bit either in line with expectations, which is going down, or lower than expectations, which could be good in a way because of the upcoming rate cut that we're going to have. Because consumer sentiment and overall spending, I've talked about this, is going down. Especially, like, you guys know I like cars and I've talked to dealerships and stuff. It's getting bad with cars. You go in dealerships, they're empty. Manufacturers know this too, and their quarterlies are really bad. That's why they're giving like 0% or 1% APR on cars now, right? And I'm assuming it's not just with cars; it's with everything across the board. So I'm going to assume that all these economic data that's going to be coming out going forward, we're going to see maybe, lower numbers, but it may not hit quite yet, but maybe next year. We also will have a lot of Fed speakers, a lot of speakers. Again, we always have a lot of FOMC speakers giving their opinion. Kashkari is always bearish, okay? Very, very bearish, or hawkish, I should say. So whenever he talks, sometimes the market crashes. He's just like super bearish about everything. So I normally just ignore him. And everyone else is in line with what Powell says. And then, of course, this all leads up to a couple of weeks when we have the next FOMC meeting, right? And right now, it's baked in 92% chance we will get a 25 basis point cut. There's very little chance that we're not going to get a cut, and no chance right now to get a 50 basis point cut. Okay. Unless something drastic happens. I guess we'll see. All right. Now, let's go to Bitcoin. What's going on with Bitcoin? A lot of good stuff. A lot of great stuff, in fact, okay? There are so many great things. Yesterday was just a tip of the iceberg. I'm still maintaining the fact that we can turn around, and there's a really good chance, I believe, that we can hit all-time high this week. And I'll show you why. Because those pesky shorters, they're basically gone. And if you're looking at like starting from 69 above, they're pretty much all gone. But I'll get to that in a little bit. ETF inflows, absolutely massive last week. Okay. So basically that's setting up the stage for more inflows. I mean, Wall Street is feeling the FOMO. Right now, you could argue that there is no better investment out there, okay, in terms of Wall Street. All these like hedge funds, every year, right, they have to show performance. And it's embarrassing when they have to report their annual performance at the end of the year or next year, and they actually underperform versus their peers. And it's more embarrassing if they underperform versus, say, just the S&P 500. And that happens all the time. I remember when I covered it in early 2022, when there was like a page of like 50 hedge funds and showed their performance in 2021. And all of them except with like exception of like 7 of them, underperformed versus S&P 500. So that means if you just bought a ETF that followed S&P 500, you would have outperformed like 90% of the hedge funds out there, which made them look really stupid. And the 6 out of the 7 that outperformed the S&P 500 did not outperform Bitcoin. And only 1 did, only because they bought GME, and that was a mistake. It was just an accident, right? So my point is, had any person just bought Bitcoin, they would have basically outperformed every hedge fund in Wall Street. So why do you need hedge funds? Why do you need to pay anyone to manage your assets when you could just buy Bitcoin and outperform anyone, right? That's how it's always been, and probably will be how it always will be, right? And I think Wall Street is starting to realize that, so they just keep buying more Bitcoin. That's why the Bitcoin strategy has been so dominant. So last week, obviously, if you look, major inflows last Friday, 270, and then Thursday, 470, Wednesday, 460, Tuesday, 370, Monday, 555. You get the picture. I mean, we're talking about billions upon billions upon billions. And I think for the remainder of this year, it's not going to be different. You're going to have billions upon billions upon billions upon billions every single week. Because who are the ones that's buying these ETFs? Probably the hedge funds. Probably the hedge funds. And the banks and the companies. Everyone that wants to do well. Because they understand nothing outperforms Bitcoin. It's the best investment out there. It's the best asset to hold long term too. So I think people are starting to warm up, and it's only going to accelerate. So this is like, perpetual cycle of buying and driving the price higher, which will drive more buying, and the price goes higher and just keeps on going. It's going to keep on moving. That's it. And while that's happening, the Bitcoin network is getting stronger. So let's not just focus on the price, but as for the network itself and the miners that are powering the network, it continues to get stronger, which means that it becomes more unhackable, more secure, more decentralized, which also means that it's more impossible to shut down. And that most people do not care about. Most people don't care about, but I tried to explain this to someone new this weekend, and people just don't understand. But it's probably the most valuable thing about Bitcoin, because it's the one network that all governments around the world have ceased to try to shut down, meaning they have given up because they realize they can't shut it down. And that is so powerful if you think about it. There is nothing else out there that anyone could create today that a government can't shut down, right? And there's nothing else that exists that can transfer value that can't be shut down. Everything else has a head, like a person or a company or some kind of middleman that can be shut down and confiscated. Bitcoin is the only one out there that governments around the world now realize that it's just too big and pointless to try to stop. So that in itself is priceless because you can't replicate it. And if you just take a second to think about that, that's invaluable. That's priceless. That doesn't exist anywhere else, right? And that in itself is crazy if you think about it. It's really crazy. All right. Outside of that, asset inflows, obviously very, very good last week. We're also entering the 44th week for Bitcoin, which is also very good, generally speaking, in October, right? We still have 2 solid weeks of October. It's not over yet. We got this week and next week. Well, next week kind of like half week, but still. We have 2 solid weeks. Well, 1.5 solid weeks to go. Okay? Still plenty of time to see more gains. But if we're following what happened last year, we got many, many, many weeks to go. Last year, we had 8 consecutive up weeks. Are we going to see the same thing? So far, we had the same thing. We had 3 so far. Are we going to see a 4th? Quite possibly. Quite possibly. Now, something else that looks absolutely fantastic, and this is what caused Bitcoin to skyrocket 2,700% the last time this signal flashed, was elections. Okay? Just look at it. 2 weeks prior to the election in 2016, Bitcoin pumped 2,700%. 2 weeks prior to election in 2020, Bitcoin pumped 2,700%. Are we going to see the same thing happen this time? That's kind of crazy. That is actually kind of crazy. Well, actually, I take that back. It didn't just pump that much in that 2 weeks. Like, it started within that 2 weeks. That's what I meant. Like, it didn't pump 2,700% in that 2 weeks. Like, it started the 2 weeks before the elections and at the top. That's what I mean. Because otherwise, that would be kind of crazy. Like, it pumps 2,700% in 2 weeks. But you got the picture, right? We're 2 weeks off, and then at the end, it's 2,700%. And it happened both times in 2016 and 2020. So if you apply that logic, I mean, I don't know what that's going to equate to. That 2,700% to where we are now, that would send Bitcoin crazily high. I can't do the math in my head. You guys do it. That would be very, very insane. That would be very insane. Insane heights. I like to see it. It could happen. So we'll see. We'll see. It just so happens Bitcoin's halving event happens every 4 years, and it happens whenever we have a new presidential elections, because it's every 4 years. It just happens to fall in elections year every single time. And it happens to be a really good time to have a halving year, right? And also something that's really amazing is every time the McRib comes back, and I guess it just came back, Bitcoin doubles. Or I don't know why. Maybe it just comes back every October. Maybe that's the reason. But it happened in 2021. It happened in 2023. And now McRib is also back. So I guess they skipped it in 2023, huh? Or 2022. There was no McRib in 2022 because everyone couldn't afford it. I don't know. Maybe this is the ultimate signal. All right. Let's wrap up. This is getting long. Outside of McRibs, what do we have? We have the banana zone, which Raul Paul talks about a lot. Are we in a banana zone? I would argue, yeah, we should be in a banana zone because it starts basically in October every year, right? So that's where we are. Have we really started climbing upwards to the moon yet? Not so much, but I like to remind you guys, we're not that far off from all-time high, right? I know alts seem like they're still mountains away, but Bitcoin is only less than 10%. In fact, yesterday when we were at 69.5, we were only 5% away. So we did start climbing up, just not all the way up to the moon yet, but we will. Once we surpass all-time high, we're definitely in that banana zone. Alts still need some time to catch up, but Bitcoin has already started. But it's going to be glorious once we start moving. It always is, every single cycle. Everyone always, everyone always complains it's not going to happen. We're not going to move up. It's impossible to break through the previous cycle. And then it happens and everyone is in euphoria. I mean, that every single cycle always happens. There's always some case, some bearish event, some FUD that makes people think that there's no way we can go higher. In 2020, think about what happened with the pandemic and despite all the fear out there, Bitcoin still went up. Think about that. And Bitcoin fell below $4,000 in 2020. Despite falling that much, it still went up to $69,000. So think about it. Think about how scary it was back then, and it still pumped up to $69,000 in 2021. So yeah, Bitcoin will just do its thing. These are all distractions. It will just continue to move higher and further. You just have to be patient. All right, so here's a double bottom showing that Bitcoin will go higher. There's a million patterns like this, okay? A million patterns, fractals, whatever. There are a lot. And if you're looking at October 21st, there's something special about today. If you look at 2020 and 2023, both years when the McRib came out, it is literally the start of the bull run. And if the McRib came out today, then it is the start of the bull run. I don't know if the McRib came out today. I'm just assuming because there's that post about the McRib. Maybe McRib came out today. I don't know. We'll see. All right, now moving on to some alt news. A lot of people are getting quite excited about Ape Coin. Finally, there's some movement. Ape Coin has been decimated since 2021, but it did surge 100% yesterday. I don't know if it held 100%, as they debut Ape Chain. And they introduced the automatic yield mode, allowing users to earn passive rewards or passive returns by staking their Ape token. Well, everyone does that, okay? But it took them, 3 years to introduce? I guess better late than never, right? Now, I'm still waiting for them to introduce their metaverse. But it's the first step. First step. So I guess that's great. Great. I don't know what they're going to be putting on their Ape chain, but that is great. What else is there? Pump.fun is going to be launching their new token soon. And they launched Pump Advanced. I don't know what Pump Advanced is, but yeah, I have no idea what Pump Advanced is. Upgraded trading terminal and hints a new feature. Okay, what's the fastest trading terminal, optimized mini charts, top holder stats, social activity, all in one. Okay, great. Yeah, I was wondering when they were going to launch their token. So that is also coming. They should launch a token on their own platform. That makes a lot of sense, right? All right, what else is there? Stripe acquired a stablecoin platform Bridge for $1.1 billion, crypto's largest acquisition. I've never even heard of Bridge. I don't know if you guys have, but that is the biggest, 1.1 billion. So Stripe obviously is getting very, very, very in tune with crypto. Once upon a time, they accepted crypto, and then they removed crypto. Just recently, they introduced crypto payments again, and now they just spent $1 billion on the stablecoin Bridge. So that means, obviously, they're going to be accepting stablecoins and allowing merchants to accept different various stablecoins. I'm assuming this Bridge allows different stablecoins to convert, to bridge among different chains. That's why it's called Bridge. That's why I'm assuming that's why it's called that. But that's a huge acquisition, $1 billion. All right. Lastly, let's look at what's happening short term here. Why we are getting this massive dump right now. I think a lot of longs are getting liquidated. That's why. Let's look at the heat map right now. So I was looking at this, and it's very unfortunate because I was looking at the long side and there's like nothing. There was nothing on the long side. But I guess there's too many greedy. I mean, there was nothing on the short side, I was going to say, but too many longs getting liquidated. So you can see there was a lot of longs at 68. So the bears pushed through, and then now, we're getting a lot of long liquidations, right? That's why we're seeing what we're seeing. But up until even 30 minutes before we started stream, on the short side, going above, there was nothing. There's no set walls or anything. All the shorts were gone. It left up here basically open, So it's unfortunate, but that's what happens, When it gets too bullish, too many people open up the crazy longs, the 20 and 30Xs, and then that's when they get wrecked, right? So that's what I'm saying. I don't shed a tear for people that get wrecked on the short side, but on the long side, you always have to be careful. You don't want to go too crazy because there will always be corrections. There will always be, overheated markets, and they tend to come down. Right? But I have no doubt we will come back. I think this week can still be very, very good. And you know what? Let's see if I'm right. And the good thing is a lot of the alts that did go up over the weekend are holding some of their gains. For example, like Solana, still above 160. I think it almost hit 170 yesterday. And that's pretty good. I like to see Solana above 200 soon. And Doge actually did, someone mentioned Doge. Doge actually did really well because of Elon. And, Elon's also doing some crazy things now too. Besides SpaceX, he's doing all this election stuff now, giving away $1 million a day or something. I have no idea what's going on there. It just seems like it's really weird. I don't think he should be doing any of that stuff. All right, let's do some Q&A. Hold on. Let's see. Sorry, I was answering some message here. Let's see if I missed anything. Richie Rich says just bought some. Nice. If Bitcoin went to 9K, I would sell my house and your house to load up. Okay. Well, that's obvious. It's not going to go to 9K. McRib. This is convincing. I don't know the deal about McRibs. I don't know why a lot of people love McRibs. I think there's too much barbecue sauce on McRibs. I really don't see the appeal to McRibs, if I'm being honest. McRib just came out in the UK. Uh, Soccer Shop Club. How many Bitcoin do we need after one? Well, that's you know, there's no right or wrong answer. The right answer is just as many as you can get. There's no real like, you know, it's not like after one is like two. That's it. It's basically it's a game of accumulation. That's really what it comes down to. How much can you accumulate within your lifetime? Just do what Sailor does on a smaller scale. Sailor's trying to accumulate as much as he can, leveraging MicroStrategy. Um, and I feel like for retail investors, the same way. But don't leverage. Don't leverage in the sense of like don't be like mortgaging your house and taking on a lot of debt to buy Bitcoin like what he's doing with MicroStrategy. That's a different story. Don't ever invest more than what you can afford to lose. That's it. Oh, Sol did hit 170 yesterday. Sol got to 171 yesterday. That's pretty nice. Nvidia's up. Out of all the things, Nvidia made a new high today. 141. Nvidia is just the unstoppable train. Anyone that's in equities right now, I mean, I just tell people, why would you not buy Nvidia? It's a monopoly. Everyone's buying Nvidia chips. Like it seems silly for anyone not to buy Nvidia. MicroStrategy down a little bit, but still, they already shattered through their March high. Bitcoin is still waiting to do that. They're still in a very good spot. And Michael Saylor is laughing all the way to the bank. And I would not be surprised if they flip into the green today and they just keep on going and possibly break through that. All the Wall Street stuff, I think could turn around. Robinhood is down a little bit, but Robinhood is also all-time high. I think Robinhood could also flip. Coinbase struggling a little bit. I'm still waiting for Coinbase to get to 260 by the end of the year. But Nvidia just a dominant powerhouse at this point. Let's look at the liquidations. Let's actually outside of heat map, let's look at just the regular liquidations. How many? Yeah, too many on the long side. That's exactly what's happening. So 4 to this one's a 20. So that's 30. That's like 40 million on the long side, right? So this is what happens. Short side, this is what we were seeing. Last night, yesterday, when we hit 69,500, the shorts were getting absolutely wrecked. Okay. And then unfortunately, right now, the longs got wrecked because there was just too many longs. But the short side, we were just getting rid of all the liquidation walls. Unfortunately, this morning it turned around. But it was great to see the shorts getting knocked out. I did also find on this site, you could have just like an overall order book heat map, which is great. So if you look at this, it's kind of hard to detect, but this is where all the, like, basically all the volume is. You do have massive buying right here at 67,000. You have some right here about 67.3. And then you have a little bit at 68, and then a little bit at 68.7. And then above, not that much. 60, 69.2, 69. I mean, if we just do a V shape up, there's like nothing stopping us going all the way back to 69.5 very easily. Dusk. I watched your video talking about frustration with some of your comments made on a car review video. And I didn't see the second part of that comment. Who would win in a street fight, Trump or Biden? That's no question. I think you know the answer to that already. Stock market actually isn't bad today. So today with Bitcoin, why it fell is just, you know what? It's just to get rid of the longs, honestly. It really is to get rid of the longs. That's the only reason why this happened. Whoever is looking at the books said, hey, there's way too many longs. Let's get rid of them. This is the only reason why. It's not like the market is doing bad right now. Tech isn't really selling off. Nvidia is actually going up. Everything's actually doing well on Wall Street. The only reason why this is happening is to get rid of the longs. Honestly, this is the only reason why. And once this clears, we'll get right back to 69.5. I'm still hoping that by the end of this week, we'll get back and be in the 70s and possibly make a new high. It was looking so good yesterday. Quality crypto. There's no point. There's no point to set it to 1 year. The liquidation heat map 1 year. It changes every hour. I've watched it change every hour because as liquidations happen, you see the walls move up and down. There's no point to change it to 1 year. You want to see the 5 minutes because it changes very fast. On the 15 minutes, you can see the RSI is extremely oversold. So we could definitely see a big push back up. Let me show the McRib signal. It just happens to correlate. Maybe it's just a seasonal thing, but Bitcoin does 2x every time McRib returns. Ryan asks, is there a lot more leverage used this bull run compared to others? Yes, definitely, because there's a lot more exchanges that's offering leverage. And back in like 2017, almost no leverage existed, only with just like few exchanges. But now everyone offers it. If Taco Bell keeps nacho fries, Bitcoin, you know, Scott, I don't think I ever tried nacho fries. Maybe I tried it once. I don't even remember what it tastes like. Dave's Digital. I watch your Sunday gripe video. I agree with you. The chat can sometimes have a complete a-holes. You know what? That's I you know that's why I try not to look at the comments. But like sometimes it can't. You know, even it gets to me, right? Even after doing this for so long, it's like there's people just whine about everything. There are a lot of miserable people out there, and they just want to spread their misery, and I hate it sometimes. But I think I'm doing something fun with my CryptosRUs videos. I know people look forward to it, but then there's always people that just like tries to make me not want to do it. What's the deal with Trump working at a McDonald's? Trying to look more like he's a people person, like a blue collar person. I guarantee you Trump has never worked in a McDonald's in his life. That's his first time. Does I appreciate that. It was a knock on Kamala. Was that really the point of it, or he was trying to seem more down to earth, or was he really trying to do that to troll Kamala? Because that I don't think that worked because there was more memes on that than anything. Yeah, I'm not going. I was going to show something on X, but I'm not going to get into it. I'll just show this. Well, I don't know why, like, people would lie about working at McDonald's. I worked at Burger King during my high school days. I don't think there's anything to be ashamed about working at McDonald's or Burger King in your high school days. As a teenager, you need some money, right? Um, it wasn't a bad job. I remember I was really good at the cashier. I was like way better than anyone else at the cashier. I wouldn't like get perfect orders, never mess up. And then we could make our own burgers, especially when the manager wasn't there. We could just like make crazy like 10 patty burgers and stuff and take them home. It wasn't that bad. But back then, like the minimum wage was like $7 an hour or $6.50 an hour or something like that. Back in the day, the Whopper was the best fast food burger there was. By far. I remember Whopper was so good. Now, these days, not. No. These days, I'd say Wendy's is better. Way better. Five Guys is good, but they're not really considered fast food. You have to wait forever, and they have no drive-through either. I actually do really think Wendy's is probably the best of the fast food burgers. Culver's is good, but I just, yeah, it's just like, it's not real fast food. It's more like a sit down place. It's like half because it's not that fast. Is there anything that's actually doing well today? Hey, Cosmos is actually doing well today. Out of the blue. Maybe Cosmos will get some momentum. Cosmos has been down for a long, long time. Maybe Cosmos will go do well. Couple of memes. Meow and Popcat are still doing well. 24 hours. Jupiter and Solana still up in the green. So that's good. Actually, Solana is starting to trend up a little bit. Doge is still in the green. Helium is still in the green. XRP is still in the green. XRP could just never hold above 60 cents. That's about it. It would be nice if Cosmos could get some momentum. Cosmos has just been absolutely stale for a long, long time. Do you think McDonald's will accept Dogecoin? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. McDonald's is serving rats and humans. Call it McRib. Here's something interesting. Not to gross you guys out, but this is something I've learned, and I think it's still true. I don't know if it is. Um, Factories that make peanut butter, they have these giant tubs where they like mix whatever they do, to make peanut butter. And I guess it attracts rats. So they actually have tolerance standards in terms of how many rats can fall into a container when they mix them in, when they mix it. So like every jar of peanut butter has a little amount of rats in there. That's what I was told because they can't keep the rats out. Um, I always found that to be funny that there's actually a tolerance of how many rats can fall into a tub of peanut butter when they mix it, and there's a certain amount of rats in every jar of peanut butter. I don't know if that has improved over the years, but that's what I was always told. I love peanut butter. Regardless of that story, I still love peanut butter. I could eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches all day long if I could. Oh, Visid did research. Peanut butter is one of the most controlled food in the FDA list. An average of 1 or more rodent hairs and 30 or so insect fragments are allowed in every 100 grams, which is 3.5 ounces. See? There you go. It's true. I'll tell you, Jif, natural Jif peanut butter. I've tried all peanut butter. Natural Jif peanut butter is the best tasting one of all. The smooth one too, the creamy one. Creamy, natural Jif. You have to get the natural Jif. Is the best tasting peanut butter there is. MicroStrategy looks like it's about to turn green. That is very positive. MicroStrategy is going to turn green. That means Wall Street's buying. Robinhood is about to turn green. And I think Bitcoin is going to flip above. I think this is just to liquidate the short longs, and then we're going to get right back above. It's not because the natural makes it any better. It's just it tastes better. There's something about Jif regular and Jif natural. Natural one just tastes better. All right, guys. I'll just leave it at the McRib. I'll leave it at this for my closing thoughts. Well, Bitcoin skyrocketed 2,700 last time this flashed. And no, it's not the McRib signal. Although, every time the McRib comes back, Bitcoin doubles. Okay? So be prepared for that. So that means Bitcoin will be at $120,000 soon, if this is true. Stay strong, my friends. I think Bitcoin is off to a rough start today, but we'll end up in a very good spot end of this week. I think today is to wipe out the longs, but do not be discouraged. Continue to hold on DCA, and better days will come. In fact, we're seeing some alt movements already, so that is very positive. Join me tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Iman, want to open a long leverage, 5 or 10x. Don't do 10, do 5, or even less. Do 3. Be safe. Join me tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll see where Bitcoin is then. All right? Take care, guys. Bye-bye.